And here's the snap. Hands it to Audric Estime, and that is and should be a touchdown. Here we go. Bryson Mars has got his back behind him. It is Jaquindon Jackson. Here's the snap. Bryson Barnes looking deep. He's got a man. It's caught! He's gone! Touchdown early! And good evening, everybody, and welcome to College Football Wraparound. I'm Cooper Naylor, and we are so glad that you could join us here tonight. We have got – this is a great show we have here tonight. Let's go ahead and move to our main camera. So, of course, we got a lot to get into when it comes to the world of college football. Nick Saban was honored Saturday. Of course, we saw it here live. You also got some videos from us here on the channel. Of course, we're going to talk about the Alabama-USF game and how Alabama nearly ruined that whole Nick Saban dedication thing that nearly did not go the way that it should have. So we'll get into that. Notre Dame, folks, they nearly lost on the road. Or not, Notre Dame was at home. I'm sorry. Nearly lost at home against a team, against Northern Illinois. They lost at home against Northern Illinois. We'll get into that. Texas goes to Michigan. Auburn gets beat at home to Cal. Just a lot to talk about. So, but first, let's begin with the big story that we saw this morning coming from the Pac-12. Now, you may be wondering, Cooper, what happened with the Pac-12? And how come you're talking about it? Well, here is the first big thing, okay? The Pac-12 has officially added some more schools. They've added 4 more schools. They went to the Mountain West and they got Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State. Now, you may be saying, first off, this is interesting, right? It is. It's very interesting. But before I get into it, I want you, the viewers, to know this up front, okay? This right here, these moves by the Pac-12 to get these 4 teams, excuse me, gotta get some water real quick. You know, it's like my throat didn't want me to say what I was going to say. Either way, now that I got me a little sip of water, so first off, for those of you who have this notion that the Pac-12 is back to being a power conference, they're not. Don't even get me started with this, because there's not going to be a Power 5, okay? That idea is long gone. So don't give me the whole, oh, there's a Power 5 now. No, there's not. Okay? Go look at it. If you look at college football, don't even tell me that this could be a Power 5 conference, because it's half of the Mountain West plus Oregon State and Washington State. So how can you tell me that this is a Power 5 conference? There's no Power 5, okay? Now, here's the thing we got to look at, okay? They added 4 schools from the Mountain West, right? Yeah. But big question is, they still got to go get 2 schools. Where are they going to go to get these 2 schools is going to be the question. There's been rumors about Cal and Stanford going back, but this is my honest opinion on this, okay? For one, I don't see either one of them going back to the Pac-12. At least right now, I don't see it. It's going to have to be well down the line before that ever happens. So give it maybe like 15, 20 years. And then I feel like you could see Cal and Stanford going back. But other than that, I don't see them going back very soon. Okay? You look at there's so many factors here. But let's look at the positive here, okay? The 4 teams that ended up going. First off, Boise State, you got really a team. Boise State it's shocking that they hadn't moved up to a bigger conference sooner. Yes, I will admit, Pac-12, you're going to get paid a little bit more. It's a bigger conference in the Mountain West. You're going to get a little bit more exposure because you got that name, the Pac-12, behind you. But, and here's the big question here, okay? Like I said, it's not a power conference. It's not going to be, unless they were to find some way to get another big-time school come in. They're not a power conference, okay? So just remember that, folks. I just want to drill that into your heads right now. But you look at Boise State. They are honestly good enough to win this new look Pac-12. So you look at it. Boise State, great addition. You look at Colorado State. It's another great addition. Not only is football going to be positively impacted here, but look at college basketball. Okay? College basketball right here for this conference is going to be incredible. I feel like you're going to have a lot of people who are going to want to watch Pac-12 basketball like they have always wanted to. So Colorado State, great pickup there. You look at another team like Fresno State. Again, you get a decent football program, good basketball too. So you see a trend here. Good football, good basketball. And at San Diego State, they've got to be about the best basketball team within those 4. And, recently San Diego State went to the Final Four. And then you look at all the players they've had in the past. This is a great pickup getting these 4 schools to go to the Pac-12. And for Oregon State and Washington State, you've got to give them credit here, okay? Because I'll say this, and I'm going to admit when I'm wrong. I thought this conference, it would just be these 2 teams, and then the conference would be dead. They would have to go independent in football, and they just have to figure out where everything went from there. But, you got to give credit where credit's due. Oregon State and Washington State, they fought it out. They found a way to keep the conference going. But you still got to find 2 more schools. So, again, the question that we have, who are the other 2 schools? Now, where do I go with this? I possibly am looking at either going to the American or the Mountain West and trying to get some of these teams, okay? But most likely I'm going to the Mountain West because if I'm the Pac-12, I think the best way to go about it right now, let's stay geographic right here, okay? So you're looking at 2 more schools potentially. One that people really want is UNLV. Now, what is the purpose of getting UNLV? First off, if you're the Pac-12, you're going to get UNLV where you could get a huge television market there in Las Vegas. That's a huge market. That would be a huge pickup right there. Secondly, I mean, you get the resource of being there in an NFL stadium and getting a lot of that exposure. So I think that's huge right there. So UNLV could definitely be huge in that aspect. The second team, so I'm going to go with UNLV because everybody's saying it, and I think it makes a lot of sense here. And then I honestly think this would make the most sense if you went and got Hawaii. Now, hear me out. You think about Hawaii. Who wouldn't want to go out to Hawaii and play a football game? It's paradise. I mean, you get Hawaii in the Pac-12. I think it's a great combination, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. So the two other teams I see the Pac-12 getting, UNLV, Hawaii. That's the two teams I'm going after next if I'm the Pac-12. Now, that would leave a gap for the Mountain West, where that would leave them with 6 schools themselves. Where do they go? Well, they are going to go to the FCS, I believe. And who are they going to pick up? They're going to get North Dakota State, and I would say South Dakota would be another one of those teams that would end up making their way to the Mountain West. So, what is my ideal situation? Again, now that Boise, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, I see UNLV and Hawaii joining those 4 to go to the Pac-12. I see North Dakota State and South Dakota going to Mountain West. So both of those conferences would be left with 8 schools apiece. And it's not like legitimately, if you're the Pac-12, you don't have to disband. And this is probably a good situation here. And if you're some of these teams that are in the Mountain West, you get a much deserved elevation in pay grade and where you're playing. But again, like I said, they are not a Power 5 conference. There is no Power 5, okay? If we are going to be completely honest with ourselves, and folks, just let's be honest, okay? We have a Mega 2 or Super 2, whatever you want to call it, the Big Ten, SEC. They're the supreme crop of college football conferences. Then, what I would say personally, you would then have what I would like to call your Power 4 there. Okay? ACC, Big 12, Mountain West, Pac-12, or not Mountain West. Let me rephrase that. American would be put in there. Then you would have your group of 4. So you would have Conference USA, Sun Belt, MAC, Mountain West. Then that still leaves you with the 3 independents that we still have, because these 3 schools that are independent, I don't see in the near future them looking to join a conference in college football. I don't see it. So, folks, that is my opinions on the Pac-12. So, whether you agree or disagree with me, this is my opinion. So, comment below what you think about this, because that's what I think. All right. Also, we got to talk about Nick Saban. Now, if you haven't followed the YouTube channel, of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think we're still at, I got my phone right here, so I can get you an accurate look at where we stand in the subscriber count. Okay, so we are still at 81 subscribers. So, folks, please, if you want to continue getting our content, that we hope that we're doing the best job, which we believe we're doing a great job here, please consider subscribing to the YouTube page. Also, if you're watching on Rumble, I believe we're at 12 followers right now. Let's try to get that up. By the end of the football season, but let me phrase that. By the new year, what we really want to do here on this channel is on YouTube, we want to get to 100 subscribers. On Rumble, we want to get to, I would say the goal is to get to at least 50 followers by the end of the year. So we're trying our best to get there. So with that being said, let's talk about Nick Saban. So Saturday, like I was saying, if you follow us, you saw we went down to the Alabama football game, and we left extra early because we knew there was going to be some exciting stuff going on. So we got down there about, I would say it was somewhere like I want to say it was like 11 o'clock, or 11 or 12 we got down there and we were doing stuff. Had the opportunity to get some autographs from, I think it was Landon Collins, Blake Sims, and Jalston Fowler. That was an incredible opportunity to get those guys to sign. I got some signed cards. My brother, he has a football that he's gotten a bunch of players sign. So he had that opportunity to get some more names on that football. And then it really just a good time to get some autographs down there at the Bryant Museum. If you haven't been in that museum, it's beautiful. You do not want to miss an opportunity. If you get the opportunity, go look at it. It's great. Then we got the chance to walk down there next to the outside of the stadium near where we got to walk down there where the Walk of Champions is at, and they had the gate set up. That is where Nick Saban was speaking the other day, and that's what you see here in this picture. Where he was right outside of where he was, right next to where they were going to unveil the mural where it says Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. He spoke for a few minutes, and they unveiled that. Really just a great opportunity to hear him speak, and you could tell it wasn't just, and I mean, this is the part that I think people are going to in the future forget about, which also I forgot to mention that, well, Colton helped mention this. We walked by Caden Proctor. Thank you, Colton. But the motivation for him was that, well, for Saban, it wasn't all about him. It's about the players, and it's about the men that they helped make with these football players, excuse me. So, I got to say, incredibly humble position he has taken, and I think it says a lot that they didn't put Nick Saban Field. It's Saban Field. A great, absolutely great moment where it wasn't all about Saban himself. He was giving some credit to his wife, Miss Terry, and the rest of his family. Because, like any great person knows, is that it's not just one person that makes something great. He realized that it took a village to make something incredible like it has been down there in Tuscaloosa. So, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium is the name. Just incredible to hear him speak, as I said. So, that was unveiled. What's my thoughts? Again, like I said, this is incredible that he's getting this honor, and something that I'm not shocked. I mean, this is the greatest coach in the history of college football. So he absolutely deserved every recognition that he got. So now that we got all of our other topics besides the football out of the way, let's talk about the games. So let's talk about this Alabama USF game. And man, if you've been following our community post on Saturday, boy, Alabama. Okay, where do I start here? I think I should go into the stats first, because this may help you understand that although it was 42-16 on the scoreboard, this game was a lot closer. Okay, really, that 21-16 that it was with, like, I want to say, like 9 minutes to go in the ball game, that's the true score of the game. Okay, you look at third. Okay, first off, let's look at first downs. USF 21, Alabama 20. Third down efficiency, USF 2 of 18, Alabama 5 of 13. You look at total yards, Alabama 393 to 309 of USF. Passing yards, Alabama 194 to 103 of USF. And then you look at run game, USF 206 to 199 of Alabama. Penalties. Oh my gosh. You could not watch this. You could not sit there without seeing some penalty in each and every drive, it felt like. USF 11 penalties, 92 yards. Alabama 13 penalties for 120 yards. And Alabama, they had 3 lost fumbles in this ball game, folks. That ain't gonna win you a ball game. But here is Alabama had the ball for 31 minutes 4 seconds to 28:56 of USF. Now, what was the big deal here in this game? First off, if you look at Alabama, their offensive line is where you got to start and look at. Okay, I believe Caden Proctor didn't play in the game. I can't remember who it is, but another starter didn't play, I believe. You had a lot of shifting around with the offensive line, and you had a couple of guys in there that have never really played very much football, and it wasn't pretty. Now, Pritchett, I think he played early in the game, then he was taken out, and then he was put back near the end of the game. Now, Pritchett, when he's in the ball game, Alabama does a whole lot better, at least on that offensive line, in the way it was on Saturday. So that's first off. Secondly, the play calling, you can't really get mad at the play calling when you look at the quarterback and you say, well, this quarterback, he only has 2 or 3 different passes that he actually does, okay? He is not willing to throw the short 5-10 yard pass. He's not willing to do that. It's either you're going to throw it like a little screen play, or it's either a deep pass down the field. Milroe is not throwing it for 5 or 10 yards. Okay? That is where Alabama is, and it's the same thing as last year, because, and that's why I think people are blind, I think, and they think Milroe is this great quarterback, but they don't realize that the guy, he doesn't read the defense. Okay? He does not read the defense, and he ends up making some stupid mistakes, but yet because he's Jalen Milroe, nobody realizes this. So that is another aspect of it. And really, when you think about it, with the way the offense was playing there for a stretch near the end of the second quarter into the entire third quarter, that defense did not have a lot of time to rest. If you're not going to give your defense enough time to rest, then they're going to start playing poorly, okay? So that's really what I saw from Alabama. Again, though, you got to give credit to USF for at least they got a running quarterback who burned them all game on the ground. I mean, if we're all being honest, that Byram Brown, I mean, that dude, he could play running back somewhere and he would be incredible. Now, passing game, though, on the other hand, he missed a bunch of passes, and it was rough to watch him throw the football. But in all reality, Jalen Milroe was about the same way the whole night. Both of them completed 16 passes. Difference is Byram Brown threw 36 and Jalen Milroe threw 26. So definitely an interesting ball game right there. So, of course, let me know what y'all think about this. I mean, Alabama, USF, it was a pretty game for Alabama. They ended up winning the ball game, which is what matters. But it's going to be interesting to see on Saturday morning, did Alabama get this all cleaned up? That's going to be the big question I think a lot of people are going to have against Wisconsin. Of course, they're going on the road to Wisconsin, so we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. All right, let's turn our attentions. Let's talk about this ball game between Notre Dame and Northern Illinois. So, Notre Dame. Here we go again. A Notre Dame football team that loses a game they shouldn't lose. Once again, what a shocker. All right. Possession. Northern Illinois held the ball for 30 minutes and 49 seconds to 28-44 at Notre Dame. You look at total yards. Northern Illinois 388 to 286 at Notre Dame. Passing yards, Northern Illinois 198 to 163. Here's a interesting stat. So Northern Illinois' quarterback was 10 of 20 passing the football. Riley Leonard for Notre Dame, 20 of 33. Here's the big discrepancy here, though. Northern Illinois' quarterback, he was averaging 9.9 yards per attempt. Riley Leonard, 4.9. And the Northern Illinois quarterback threw for a touchdown in this ball game. Run game, Northern Illinois 190 to 123 of Notre Dame. Northern Illinois definitely wanted to run the ball. They ran it 45 times to 28 of Notre Dame. Notre Dame had their 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then Notre Dame turned the ball over they threw 2 interceptions, Riley Leonard did. So that didn't help them at all. So if you didn't already know, Northern Illinois walk-off field goal to win the ball game in South Bend. Okay. Notre Dame, what is your problem? 2 interceptions and you lose this ball game. And I think that's the story right there. And then you also look at the yards per attempt on the passes. Just ridiculous to see. And I mean, Notre Dame just got outplayed. That's all you can say. Notre Dame got outplayed in this ball game. So, all right. Auburn and Cal. This is another one of those ball games where, at the end of the day, Cal just outplayed Auburn. So you look at the team, at the stats. Cal 18 first downs to 16 of Auburn, and then you look at the run game. Auburn did run for 121 to 99 of Cal. But the passing game, Cal 233 to 165. The big stat here, which is going to bite Peyton Thorne, which, I mean, if we're going to be honest, this could potentially be his last. This could have been the last time you saw him as a starting quarterback in college football. 14 to 27, but here's the kicker. 4 interceptions. That ain't going to get it done when you're trying to win at home against Cal. You look at total offense, Cal, 332 to 286 of Auburn. Auburn also fumbled the ball 3 times and lost it once. So, right there, when you lose the turnover battle 5-0, you're not going to win a football game. Now, I'll say this right here, right now. Cal, with the 5 turnovers, probably should have won a little bit more than just 21 to 14. But hey, they won the ball game. Auburn turned the ball over 5 times and still nearly had a chance to win the ball game at the end. But, of course, one of Peyton Thorne's 4 interceptions throughout the ball game came at the end of the ball game. So that's something to keep in mind. Auburn just couldn't get it done. Then you look at Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Now this was a ball game, folks. This one went into double overtime. And so, all right, we're going to look at this right quick. All right, Arkansas, really, if you look at the offensively, it was Arkansas all day long until Oklahoma State started making a comeback. So you look at the first downs, Arkansas 33 to 22. And then you look at third down conversion percentage. Arkansas was 12 of 19 in this ball game. Oklahoma State 5 of 16. Total yards, Arkansas, 648 to 385. Arkansas had 232 on the ground to 59 for Oklahoma State. Passing, Arkansas, 416 to 326. Now, again, what lost this game, I would say it's these turnovers. The turnover battle in these past few have been the Achilles heel of what has lost these games for these past three that I've talked about. Arkansas turned the ball over 3 times to once for Oklahoma State. Now, it did go into double overtime. Arkansas had a chance to win. They blew it. So, if you're Arkansas, you got to be kicking yourself because this was a winnable game that you just blew. So, Sam Pittman's on the hot seat now. What you going to do, Arkansas? You going to show up? You had a chance to win. You got a decent football team. I'm not going to lie. You got a decent football team. You got to do better. You got to close out these games. It's not acceptable to go in a double overtime and lose in a game that you had. You had this ball game. But either way. Finally, the last game we're going to talk about is Texas and Michigan. Texas in this ball game, I think, dominated. Texas had 19 first downs to 13 to Michigan. Third down conversions. Texas 10 to 16 to 3 for 12 from Michigan. Total yards. Texas 389 to 284. Run game. Texas 143 to 80. Passing game. Texas 246 to 204. Look at the turnovers. No turnovers for Texas. Michigan 3 turnovers. That was a fumble and 2 interceptions in this ball game. So, Michigan just let Texas come into their house and just beat them. That's all I can say. Texas was the better team. And when Texas is the better team, well, you got to give credit where credit's due. Texas is one of the best teams in college football, and it showed. And speaking of that, it is now time to reveal our rankings for this week. So, without a doubt, here is the SBN poll. All right, we're going to go to full screen on this so that you get a chance to look at this. All right, so you got Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. Top 3, unchanged. No need to change them. They're the top 3 teams in the sport right now. Now, the rest of the rankings you see, there's been a significant shift throughout the entire spectrum of this ranking, okay? So, the SBN poll really is loving Miami this season after their impressive win there in Florida, and then the way that they just handled their business last week. Miami jumps up 9 places to the 4th best team in college football by far. I mean, I don't know how many people would disagree to say Miami has looked great so far this season. Then you look at number 5, Tennessee. They get a significant jump to up 6 places. Our poll does not think that they're as good as Miami, but they were able to play a neutral site game against NC State and just bully NC State. NC State also isn't a terrible team. They're not incredible either. But Nico Liava, however you say that, definitely a great quarterback. He's going to be one you want to watch. Also for Miami, Cam Ward, another guy that we've been talking about him already. Incredible. Then you see the teams that are ranked at 6, 7, and 8. But all 3 of them move down 2 spots apiece. Oregon, Oklahoma, Alabama, all kind of struggling throughout the beginning of the season. They're undefeated, granted, but we still want to see more out of them. So, of course, we'll see what happens. And then we had Missouri move up 1 place. Missouri haven't really played anybody yet, but it's going to be interesting. You got Boston College coming into town this Saturday. That's going to be an interesting ball game, especially with the way that Boston College played against Florida State. We still don't think Boston College is good enough to be ranked, but we'll see. Ole Miss up 2 places. Again, another team that's not really played anybody yet. So we'll see how they do. USC, they're up a couple spaces just because of shifting going on. Penn State, now with the way that they nearly lost to Bowling Green, our poll did not like their game, so we moved them down to 12. Then you see Utah moves up a couple places. Louisville does. Kansas State, Arizona, Oklahoma State moves up. LSU, Clemson, all of them basically move up just because of the movement with teams losing ahead. Then you see at 20, you got Notre Dame, who's down 12 places after that loss to Northern Illinois. You got Texas A&M up 3 places. We didn't want to move them ahead of Notre Dame just because of the head-to-head. We want to honor that in this poll. Michigan's down to 22 after just getting steamrolled by Texas. Nebraska. Okay, so we got 2 teams entering the rankings this week. You got Nebraska and you got Syracuse entering. Nebraska, if you didn't watch, they bullied Colorado. Great win for Nebraska. Matt Rule has been known for a huge step up when it comes to second years, wherever he's at. So Nebraska, they're looking good. Syracuse, they just beat Georgia Tech. That's why they're ahead of Georgia Tech by 1 place. Kyle McCord, going to be he was a pretty good quarterback at Ohio State. Huge pickup for Syracuse. They're going to be an interesting team all season long. So that is our SBN poll. Leave it up there for you. And so, yeah, you can comment below what you think about these rankings. But that is our rankings for now. And then we have to announce, because we're coming to the end of their show, what is our game this week? Well, we're going to be doing Indiana, UCLA, Saturday night, 6:30. Going to be a fun one. Something that this week's really got a bunch of games that probably aren't really that's going to be a big game, but could have some pretty good football. So Indiana, UCLA, Saturday, 6:30. Really just going to enjoy some good college football. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I got to say for the night. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you again later. Good night, everybody.